Greetings, friends and great students in Oklahoma. Go Sooners. And welcome to the Geography of Wine class. It's a totally online experience, except that you'll actually be doing a whole lot of real-world stuff, too, with each other, with family and friends. They're in Oklahoma. I just won't be there to personally do it with you. So, yes, it's an online class, and I am your host of this online class. My name is Professor John Boyer, and what I'm going to give you right now is this little shout-out video to give you a rough sketch of how the whole online course works, how it's kind of generally structured. You can find much more detail about all of the intricacies of this course in the syllabus, which is now posted on Canvas. Check that out immediately. Read through all 150 pages in excruciating detail so that you understand everything before you get too far into this. You might think, oh, this course is too scary, it's too much work, I want to get out of it. Find that out now, not later. So go to Canvas, check out the syllabus, but also know this: we don't use Canvas for the operation of this course. We use an outside platform called Moodle, and you need to log on to that as soon as you finish reading the syllabus, and the instructions for that are in the syllabus. All right, so this is just kind of a general sketch of how things will work, and I'll answer any questions you ever have via email or online live office hours, which we're going to do our first one, hopefully today. Here's how the class works. Even though it's online and it's about drinking wine, those two things usually don't go together, but here's how they will. So the way this class is structured is I approach it in something I call the flipped syllabus, meaning that there isn't a set amount of things that you all must do, say a midterm and a final and a paper and a this and that. It's more, and you have to do all those things, then I score you and you get an A or an F. This class is structured more based on work, so it's a points accumulation system. Right now you have 0 points. To get an A, you need something like 1,150 points. And I'm going to give you various assignments in order for you to earn points throughout the entire semester. You don't have to even do all of the assignments. I'm going to give you more assignments than you even need to do to get an A. I'm going to give you so many assignments, you're going to learn much about wine, which is what I'm really caring about. I don't care about grades so much, but I know you do. But I care about you learning about wine, so I'm going to give you all kinds of different opportunities to read, to watch, to get quizzed, to enjoy, to taste, to sip, to write about wine throughout this entire semester. You choose your path, right? Now, there's two major categories of activities that have points attributed to them that you can do. Two major categories. One is the more academic approach, so we'll pretend like we're in a real classroom, and I'm going to give you a bunch of academic material for you to consume, and then I'll quiz you on that stuff. You know, the way you usually take classes. The second way you're going to earn points is what I call experiential, meaning you're actually going to go out in the real world and do stuff with wine in order to learn about it, and I'm going to give you points for that too. Consider this wine class kind of like a standard science class that has lectures that you go to and then an attached lab that you go physically do stuff in. Yeah, that's what this class is going to be, but it's about wine. Now let's start with the academic part. Harumph, harumph. Put on my academic hat. I'm a real professor, by the way. I'm really not. So the academic part is that we'll have all the kind of classic activities that college courses have. We'll have lectures, we'll have book readings, we'll actually have films you can watch in order to then take quizzes on that material that you learned and earn points towards your final grade. The weekly lecture series, and everything's going to be structured by weeks. I think we have about 16 weeks for this entire semester. You'll see that I have everything outlined in the appendices that are attached to the back end of the syllabus. I have everything already outlined. It'll tell you everything that's due every week. You can work ahead as much as you want, just don't get behind. Now, back to the academic part. We have lectures, books, films. The weekly lecture series means that every week a pre-recorded video or videos are posted up, and you'll go watch those videos, much the same way you would walk into a classroom and watch me lecture live, except it's pre-recorded. You can watch it anytime you want. Watch it on Sunday night, watch it on Monday morning, watch it on Thursday afternoon. You watch whenever you want. Just make sure you take the quizzes before they're due. And what I mean by that is that every week they will say that there's 2 or 3 of these videos you have to watch. Then you go onto the Moodle site and you click on those video quizzes for say week 2, and it'll say, okay, week 2 is watch this video, go take this quiz. And you go take the quiz, hopefully you score well, and you get the points. See how that works? Okay, pretty straightforward. Now, what are we going to be talking about? What am I going to be lecturing to you about to get you to understand and fully appreciate and love wine? And still be academic about it. Well, I won't lie. I'm going to start kind of talking about less academic stuff at the beginning of the semester because I'm going to give you a bicycle. I want you to learn about wine, and I'm going to give you a bicycle with some training wheels on it right from the get-go so that you can start pedaling and get moving in the right direction, so that you understand the terminology of wine, the sipping and swirling part of wine, the tasting notes part of wine, the practical stuff. So for the lecture series, the content will start with what I call kind of wine basics, a geography of drinking wine. I know that sounds weird, but it really is kind of like a language. So I have to teach you the basics of the language first so that you understand all the rest of the semester. So weekly lecture series, you're going to start with a kind of powerhouse intro to wine basics. Here's how you drink, here's how you taste, here's how you write about it, here's what it's all about. Okay? The second major component of the lecture series, this is throughout the entire semester, is the grape basics. That is, wine is made out of these things called grapes. So I'm going to give you a whole lecture series on the geography of the plant, right? And there's attached quizzes to all those lectures. The third major component of the lecture series is going to be about wine production itself. So many elements of why wines are unique, and there's so many of them around the world, is both the grapes, where they're from, but also how they're processed. So third component is wine production processes, the geography of wine production and how that changes flavors and creates unique types and styles and brands of wine around the world. If you want, I don't have these done yet, but if you want, I can put in a fourth component of the lecture series, which would be specific regional lectures about specific places on the planet that are famous for wine. Namely, I could do a series of lectures on the French wine industry or the German wine industry or the Australian wine industry if you want. Again, I don't have those yet, but hit me up. I'm here for you. I'm here to teach you whatever you want to know, so I certainly could add more material if you want. Remember, there's already more material than you need points-wise to get an A. I'm going to keep stressing that. So each week, these lectures are going to be posted, quizzes will be active, and each week we'll say, quizzes 1, 2, and 3 are due this week, and they're gone after Sunday night. Next week, quizzes 4, 5, and 6. The week after that, quizzes 8, 9, 10. You get the picture, right? Here's the trick, though. If you are a really great student and want to work ahead, all of these quizzes are already active. You could watch the whole semester's worth of video lectures right now and go take all the quizzes in week 1 and get all the points you can. Go for it. In other words, you can binge watch lectures if you like. That's up to you. They're accessible, but as I'm suggesting, every week quizzes disappear. So work ahead if you want to, just don't get behind. So that's the lecture stuff. We also have book readings. This is still under the academic umbrella. We have a couple/few different books we're going to use for the course, and you will, much like many classes, I'm going to assign you a chapter or 2 of readings for these books every now and again and say, okay, go read these chapters and then go take the quizzes on those. 4 more points towards your grade. Now, the books in question are 1, Drink This Now, and you'll start reading that probably. The quizzes for this will come due probably in the first 3 or 4 weeks of class. So you might want to go to jump on this one and go grab it. It's not due yet, but some of those quizzes will be due about in a month. The next more challenging big book is the Kevin Zraly book. And yes, I know there's many editions of this book. They change the facts and figures in parts of these chapters every year. So try to get the most recent one. I think it looks like this. It should be marked 2016 or 2017. If you already have an older edition, life won't end. You can use it, just don't get too put off when you're answering quiz questions. And you're like, no, I'm looking at my book, and this is definitely the right answer, but it keeps counting it wrong. That's because you have an older edition. So just work with us on that. But try to get the newest, bestest edition of the Kevin Zraly book. And it's really intensive on facts and figures and stuff like that. The third one is optional. Those first two are required. The third optional one is if you really start to get into this, this is a brand new book that's out called Wine Folly. Super graphics oriented. It's just really great. It's really great intro reading for any wine drinker of any experience level. I think it's a type of book. All three of these are books that you'll probably keep on your coffee table for years to come. So, and none of them are terribly expensive. So go ahead and grab copies of that. I don't have any quizzes for this one yet. I can make some if you like, but it's a really good book just to have around. And I can make some quizzes on it if you really want. So first two are required. This Wine Folly is optional. On top of that, and again, it's in the syllabus, in the appendix under book reading quizzes. It'll tell you when everything is due all semester. You can work ahead as much as you want. Again, it's just like the lecture series. You can do them all in the first few weeks or the first month of the course. Go for it. Learn as quickly and fast as you want to and take all those quizzes and earn those points. But some come due every week. So don't get behind, because once the quiz expires for, say, chapters 2 and 3 of this book, once they expire, you can't go back and do them. In other words, for all these quizzes I'm talking about, you can't wait till the last day of the semester and say, oh, I'm going to take all the quizzes. No. They're closing down every week. Week 3, some are gone. Week 4, some are gone. Week 7, some more are gone. So by the time we get to week 10 or 11, there are no quizzes open. You can't wait till the end. You got to work. This is a work-based class. Stay on it, work, and learn, and you'll be fine. Okay. To give you even more point opportunities, I have a whole slew of wine-related films that I will sporadically post up and say, hey, go watch this film, and here's where you can download it online, and then go take a quiz on the film. Yeah, there's even wine films, and some of them aren't even documentaries. Some of them are quite hilarious comedies. So get together with friends and family and watch a film, take good notes, and then go earn some more points towards your grade. Again, do you have to do all this stuff? No, you don't have to watch films if you don't want to. But it's a way to earn more points if you do. When it comes to, the last thing I'll say on the readings, you'll pick this up as the course progresses. But some of this stuff can be a little tough, which is why I start the lecture series with Wine Basics. You can jump to these. They're a little more challenging. And what I've tried to do with the book readings is, it's not that you can just run through the whole book and read chapter 1 and take a quiz on chapter 1. Read chapter 2, take a quiz on chapter 2. I mean, you can do that, but you'll see in the syllabus that I have these chapters clustered in both books to complement each other. So for both of those books, there are chapters on, say, the white wines of France. So in a certain week, I'll say, oh, go read this book, chapter 3 on the white wines of France, and read this book, chapter 7 on the white wines of France in Germany, and then go take a quiz. I encourage you to stick with the scheduling that I have structured, because those chapters will reinforce each other as you're reading and as you're learning. Just a little tip from me to you. Okay, that's all the academic stuff, lectures, book readings, film. But you can earn points through real-world experience too. And honestly, this is where you're going to learn the most. For those of you who just want a grade, whatever, I just want an A, I need credit. Okay, I guess. But this class is about wine. And if you really are interested in wine and you're going to get passionate about wine, the way you learn about wine is experiencing wine. And experiencing wine with friends and family, over dinner, over meals, wine and food pairing. That's where you really learn. I used the analogy earlier that I was going to put some training wheels on a bike for you, so that you, in this first lecture series in the first 3 weeks, is the training wheels are on, I'm giving you the wine basics. That's a good analogy, because wine is much like riding a bike. And after the first few weeks of this course, your training wheels are going to come off, and you really need to start riding, and riding well, and riding fast. And the best way to learn about wine is to ride, is to get out there and actually taste and do it and talk about it and blog about it, write about it and taste and swirl and everything else. I can lecture to you all semester long on how to ride a bike. We can get into it. I can come down to Oklahoma, get in a classroom and lecture about the parts of a bike, how a bike operates, how you're supposed to ride a bike. But you know what? if you really want to figure out how to ride a bike, just get on the damn thing and ride. And that's why the experiential part of this course is so important. Now, how are you going to experience wine? The syllabus has all of the nitty-gritty details on all the different assignments, specific assignments you can do, and the points they're worth. But in general, you're going to create a wine blog, and it's going to be the first thing you do, and it's kind of a requirement of the course. You need to do that in the first couple weeks. Create this wine blog, and you're going to write about all the experiences you have with wine throughout the semester in these structured assignments that are in the syllabus. You can do a variety of things in order to earn points, and you can earn quite a few points, by the way. Towards your final grade, you could experience your way right to an A. Well, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but you can earn a lot of points doing this. This isn't trivial. I really want to encourage you to get out there, ride the bike, experience wine, and blog about it. There are weekly tastings you can do where you and a group of friends can get together, buy a bottle of wine, and you do a sensory evaluation on it, and you write it up. What did it taste like? What did it smell like? How did it go? What did you pair it with? What did it do? What about that? What about, take a picture of the label. All that stuff. You can get points for that. You can do food and wine pairings. You can go to a local restaurant and have a food and wine specific dinner and write about it and take pictures of it. There are a variety. You can do a wine and cheese pairing, and I found this awesome place there in Norman. What was it called? Forward Foods. That's a cheese shop that wants to actually put together lectures just for this class. They do wine and cheese pairings as events, and you can sign up for them. And when I went and talked to them, they were like, we would love to have your students come here. So they want to help you guys out. I'm sure it'll cost money and stuff, but there are all these different things you can do with wine, experiencing them in different ways that I want you to do, and write about it, and you will get points for doing it towards your final grade. So here's the real deal. You're going to learn a hell ton about grapes and wine and the processes and the wine regions throughout this entire semester via lectures, readings, swirling, sipping, sampling, partying, and blogging about it the whole way through. You do whatever you want in terms of, well, I'm going to do all this lecture series, and maybe I'll do part of this lecture series, and I'm going to do about half of these book chapters for this, but I'm going to do this type of blog and that type of blog, but I'm not going to do this other type. You do whatever you want, and you can start doing it right now, and you can work ahead on most of the academic stuff. The blogging is going to take you a little bit more time, but academic stuff, you can charge ahead. Work ahead as much as you want, work as early as you want, work as often as you want, but just don't get behind on deadlines because there are weekly things due every week. And that includes the tastings and the food and wine pairings, by the way. You can't wait to the end of the course and do 155 wine tastings and say, I want all my points. No. You can only turn in so many per week. Don't get behind. There may be over 15, 16, 1,700 points available for you to earn in all these activities. You only need about 1,100 or so to get an A. You don't got to do everything, but you got to do something, and you should start sooner rather than later. Here's a little inside tip you shouldn't tell any of your other professors, but you can actually finish this course early if you like. There's no final exam. There's no final exam. If you bust ass and push forward and do all of this stuff, you may finish a month before the semester's even done. Good for you. You will need to do at least a little bit of both the academic activities and the blogging activities to get an A. And that might be a bit of an understatement. You probably got to do at least half or more of the academic activities and then as much of the blogging activities as you can to get an A. In other words, you can't just watch videos and do the readings and get an A. You can get a decent grade, but you can't get an A. And you can't just not do any of the academic stuff and blog your way to an A. You might be able to get close, but what I'm suggesting is, no, this is a real course. I treat it seriously, and you're going to love it, but go ahead and get it in your mind that you're going to blend it, as you should for all your academic courses at university. You're going to do a bunch of reading and academic stuff and marry that with real-world activity. That's how your brain works best, and it gets stuck in there in your memory banks for life. So do a little bit of everything and maybe a lot bit of everything as quickly as you want to earn your A. And that's about it. That's the rough sketch of how the course works and roughly the topics we're going to be talking about. and how you earn points. However, all of this is in great excruciating detail in the syllabus. So please go ahead and download that off of Canvas right now and read through it. I know it's painful because it's long, but at least you'll know all the options that are available to you and how the quizzes work, by the way. You must read into how quizzing works, because it's not simply a matter of going in and clicking buttons and you get points. You have to score well enough to get your points. But go read about that in the syllabus. And if you have any questions about any of the activities, about anything about how this is structured, about wine, if you have real content questions about wine already, go for it. Hit me up. You can hit me up through my OU email, but I'll also be doing online office hours tonight, and I can do online office hours sporadically throughout the semester anytime you want. And online office hours means I'll get online and live stream, and you can ask me questions and I'll answer them as best I can. Is that cool? So hopefully you're ready to take this course and you're jazzed and as excited about it as I am. And hopefully you're already forming up friend groups, family groups. Pull as many people into this web as you can, because you'll find that if you have a solid group of people working together, you'll have much more energy. You can share cost when you go out to eat or buy bottles of wine. I heartily encourage you doing potlucks at each other's houses and cooking the food and pairing wine with it. It's just a great amount of fun we can have with wine. And the thing about wine is it's a social beverage. It's best consumed and enjoyed with other people. So you can do this course entirely by yourself. I'm not making fun of you, loser. No, I'm joking. I'm not making fun of you. You can totally do this by yourself. It's way more enjoyable with friends, family, and a cohort group that you can share these experiences with. So on that note, I'll check out now, and we'll see you later tonight for office hours, or hit me up anytime about anything all semester long. This is John Boyer. Party on.